episode? And if so, how has the reaction to that experience been?
I think we've definitely broken the format for this particular show. I know for a fact, because we are on The Cast of Us, along with everything else that The Cast of Us has done, they've never done this on The Cast of Us before. Okay. I don't know if they've done it on any other podcasts outside of this one. We are definitely shaking things up with our coverage of Dead City. But and again, I want to preface that with the only reason we're doing it is because
you're the busiest man in America right now.
Well, because of The Last of Us is also being covered at the same time, and they have a whole feedback episode that they do. So I don't want to do Dead City or Last of Us, Dead City, feedback for The Last of Us, feedback for Dead City, and then because I'm already busy enough. Plus, we nothing against anybody who leaves feedback, but we just haven't been getting enough feedback on Dead City to merit doing a separate episode.
Absolutely, 100%. And honestly, I don't think I love this show. I love this universe. I don't think that Dead City is the same level as The Last of Us, and therefore, I don't think this show, as much as I adore it and enjoy it, I don't necessarily think it warrants its own feedback episode. I think we're good with doing it the way we're doing it, and I love shaking up the format. This is cool.
Yeah, look, when Jason asked me if last year or however long ago it was, 2 years ago, whatever, when he asked me do you want to cover Dead City, I knew full well I was taking on a show that was going to be very polarizing and probably wasn't going to get the same listenership that The Walking Dead or The Walking Dead replays are getting. And you know what? I was fine with that. I love the podcast. I love the show. I like being a part of Podcastica. Those are the only three things that matter to me. So I'm appreciative of everybody who is listening to our coverage of this and is giving their input, and you coming on as a co-host for this one as well. So that's all that matters to me. If people who are listening are enjoying what we're saying, I'm happy.
I'm loving it. I am having an absolute blast. And with that, let's hear what the folks are saying. Is it me first this week or you first?
Yeah, why don't you start things off?
All right. Well, this week, first up, we have Christy Bassman. When the Dama had the violin player play, I have forgotten his name, sadly. It was Victor the violinist. That was the longest and most tense piece of Bach I have ever sat through. I knew, like Negan did, that she was going to kill him by the end of it. She kept circling him with that pen in her hand. It made me squirmy. He was a smart, nice guy, and I had a feeling he wouldn't be long for this world because of it. And I hate her for killing him. Also, I got a shout out on the last pod episode. And how cool was that? Don't get bit. Heart emoji.
I love when people comment on their don't get bits or their shout outs. It's great.
Heck yeah. If you're engaged with and engaging, come tell us. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Next one comes from Becky Anderson, who will actually be joining us as a special co-host next episode.
Nice.
So Becky, if you're hearing this, it would be interesting for you to leave feedback for episode 3 because you will be on to read your own feedback.
I would love to know how you respond to yourself after episode 4 drops.
But she has left us feedback and she says, I am loving how JDM is playing Negan this season. It's all over his face that he does not want to be the Negan of the past, and everything he has to do is painful for him. I hated watching the violin player die. Dama is evil. I'm honestly bummed the lieutenant survived again. Me too. Again, I love the actor, but I'm not enjoying this character at all. Interesting discovery Maggie made when she noticed the blue bandage at the tire fire and that same bandage Herschel was using. Did he start the fire? And if so, was it to signal the Dama they were coming?
I think we litigated that last answer last week. We believe that was her piecing together. Yes, Herschel's the mole.
Yeah. And I still stand firm to that. It hasn't been come out and been revealed.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
For sure. And you know what? I want to comment on one of the things she said earlier, which was I love how JDM is playing Negan this season, which I couldn't agree more. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. But I had told you, Ben, before we started watching that Kara and I were listening to the podcast today. I was getting her caught up. She supports me, but tangentially. No, I'm kidding. She's the best. But no, we were listening to the feedback episode, and I heard what Jason was saying. And one thing that really stuck me this time when I heard what Jason said, Jason Kabassi said was JDM is so seemingly obsessed with the idea of Negan being a good guy that's the only way he's willing to play it. And man, these last couple episodes, I have noticed that he really is playing super good guy, and I don't think that's as complex as it could be. But I can see exactly what Jason was putting down. I'm picking up now. I'm seeing what he was alluding to in real time.
Okay, that's fair. I have more to say after this episode when we get into episode 3 about my feelings, because I've been saying for the past 2 episodes, I feel like this is a facade that Negan is putting on, but we'll get to that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next up we have Lisa Edmondson Walker. She says, for some reason, I'm just not enjoying this season yet. The mustache-twirling villains, the predictable and pointlessly cruel murder of the violinist by the Dama, New Babylon leaders bullying Maggie for trying to tell them they are sailing into a trap. It's just not feeling very nuanced to me yet. I love the actors, but I feel like many of them aren't really getting to act like three-dimensional characters. I'm glad more people are enjoying it, and I will keep giving it a chance. Lisa, I have to say, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I think the reason why I am more allowing it to be what it is because I have accepted it's going to be campy, and you're going to leave some reality at the door, and I've just kind of accepted, like, all right, this is just the Negan and Maggie story in year 14 of the ZA, and you're right. There is some really questionable decision making, some character fleshing outs. I mean, we'll get into it more this episode, but I agree. More care could be done with the telling of the people in the story, but I love that you're sticking with it. I don't know, Ben. I was rambling.
No, you're totally fine, because I absolutely see where Lisa's coming from as well, and I think that kind of changes a little bit this week. I think for at least 1 or 2 characters, we do get them a little bit more, as Lisa said, 3-dimensional. Mm-hmm. They don't seem as flat this episode. You know, we feel like we get a little bit more. Pearly being one of them, but again, we'll go into that when we start breaking down the episode. But thank you, Lisa, for even bringing that to our attention. I love it. Dre Manoni is next. Listening to the feedback on episode 1 ahead of episode 2 coverage and heard your confusion on my feedback. Thank you for clearing this up, Dre. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I am all caught up, watched season 1 live, and I'm still watching season 2. So I'm hanging with you guys because I have a hard time stopping in the middle of a story.
We are also completionists, so respect.
Yep, absolutely. You have no idea how big of a completionist I am.
Chuck, man, I can't help but finish Chuck, even though every time it makes me angry.
I get it. Are you on a first watch of Chuck?
No, I'm on like a 19th watch of Chuck.
Okay. You just have to finish the current watch that you're on.
Correct.
Got it.
It's The Wire, which you don't understand, but trust me, by season 5, I'm ready to start season 1 again.
Got it. Okay. She continues on. The Dama character is so freaking scary. I guess it's not about muscle, but about scaring people with what you are capable of. The violin player's instant death was awful. As much as I have mixed feelings about Negan and his ability to be redeemed, I felt bad for him in this episode. He is between a rock and a hard place, especially since he knows Herschel is in the city now. It's, again, it goes to my point that I've been saying that Dre says that about having the mixed feelings about Negan and his ability to be redeemed.
Yep.
I feel like that potential is there, and we're working towards that. It's just a matter of, is it going to be nuanced? Is it going to be detailed? Or is it going to be flat hero complex like you kind of see it with JDM and the way he's playing it?
I am worried that's where we're headed. I want more nuance. I do not want him to just be straight up a hero Negan. I want him to be that complex character and that thing that we love the most. I want him to get a moment where he gets a little bit of bloodlust and he leans a little bit in and he wants to play that and I want to see him struggle with keeping the beast inside when the beast wants to come out. I think JDM's got it in him, and I hope that he will allow the character to mature that way. But like, man, Jason really got in my head with the idea that JDM only wants Negan to be a hero, and I feel like that's the least compelling possible opportunity for this character.
I am going to shake that out of you this episode with
thank God.
Again, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I have notes on this episode.
This is the hard thing about feedback.
It is to not want to go into it. To not want to go into it. But hopefully with something that we're going to talk about for episode 3 that might shake you a little bit, because I do see a little bit of nuance in this episode.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Next up, Robin Springer, one of the MVPs of the comment section. She says, the first 15 minutes or so, except for the violin playing, seemed like very bad acting and very boring. It picked up after a while, but I have thoughts and questions. Why is Maggie always out of breath? Why was Herschel disassociating and staring into space while they were locked up on the boat? Did the general actually think that they would approach the island unseen with all those lights on the boat blazing? What did Maggie realize about Herschel when he was bandaging that woman's leg? I was disappointed to see the lieutenant woman made it. Amen, sister. They're going to have to go a long way to make her interesting. Why are the Dama's eyes lit to look like Rasputin? Is the Croat's loyalty to her starting to crack? At first, I thought the Dama would cut the violinist's fingers off, which would have been great. That's a great call. But then it was obvious she would kill him. The violinist, with his hat, beard, and costume, looked like he got lost looking for Fiddler on the roof and ended up on the wrong soundstage. They did a really good job making us care about him, though. That's it, I guess. Still hanging in there.
All right, let's very quickly take out these questions.
All right.
So, first question: why is Maggie always out of breath? No idea.
Running. There's no cars, man. Like the gas is very limited. Like we've heard the ethanol, so she always has to run to get from point A to point B. I get that. That's why.
Zombieland rule number 1: cardio.
Yep. Herschel. All right. Herschel disassociating, staring into space. That was just the Kubrick stare of him. Like, well, this is a crazy situation I got myself into this week.
I think it's a little bit more than that, though. I think it's also like he is. This is kind of like the brainwashing playing into effect as well.
He's fighting it, but accepting it. He is. It's cognitive dissonance personified.
Well, and I think we kind of talked a little bit about it last week too. It's kind of the guilt of knowing that he was supposed to do one thing, but now what he did is leading his mother back into the city, which he did not want. So It's really a conflict of interest and conflict of guilt within Herschel at that moment.
Love it. Did the general actually think they would approach the island unseen? No, the general did not think. That is kind of what the general does do.
Okay, when you said no, I was like, "Where are you going with this?"
The general
did not think, and I'm like, "No, that's accurate. The general did not think." Yes, the general thought for some odd reason they would be able to approach this island. Lights blaring, motor running, all of that fun stuff. But the general got what they deserved, and
here we are.
They are now floating in the Hudson in multiple pieces.
It's the way it had to be. All right, next up. All right, why did Maggie realize about Herschel when he was bandaging that woman's leg? We talked about it. He was the one that set the signal fire because of the blue bandage. I was disappointed to see the lieutenant woman made it. They're going to have to go a long way to make her interesting. Not a question, but I'd just like to point out I couldn't agree with you more.
Yep.
Next up, why are the Dama's eyes lit to look like Rasputin? I don't know, but have you been listening to my other podcast, the Quit Jason podcast? I just made a Rasputin joke the other week. What are the odds we're both going to make a Rasputin joke in the same 7-day stretch? It's crazy. Next question, is the Croat's loyalty to the Dama starting to crack? I don't think so, but I think he is weary of Negan, and he's playing 3D chess. She's playing it better. That's what I'm with it.
Again, it's tough to not jump ahead.
Yes.
I have a theory on the Croat for this episode too.
I'm excited to hear that because I don't know what I want to say, but I'm so intrigued to hear. And this is the beauty of listening to podcasts about TV shows that you love is when you're unsure about something, you can hear from other people that also watched it with a reflective eye and kind of like what their take on it was. Because I can't read the Croat right now, and I kind of need a grown up to tell me what's going on. So that's you tonight, Ben.
All right, fair enough. But thank you, Robin, for all of that.
It was awesome.
Next up, Deborah Omer. She says, "Hi, Ben and Alex. I can't believe some people are still being down and harsh on Maggie. Sure, I've had my problems with her in the past, but especially with this season, she seems to be doing what she can for her community and for Herschel. I like seeing in this episode how after she got past being angry and worried, she softened up to Herschel, and he finally was able to break through his PTSD. That's not what that moment was, but we'll talk about we kind of talked about it already. Deborah. They worked together to help save themselves and others. The New Babylon leaders made me so mad. Maggie was right with them being blind to what they're trying to do, and it cost them. Pearlie was not having enough backbone to stand up against the governor, and it took losing the battle for him to speak up. The Croat had a good battle plan against them. This was reminiscent of when Negan was on Alpha's side with the attack on Hilltop. But this time, it was all fun and games for him until he saw Herschel and Maggie. I just hate that Victor was collateral damage. The Dama is ruthless. Y'all have a good one and take care." So let's quickly go back to I like seeing in this episode how after she got past being angry and worried, she softened up to Herschel, and he finally was able to break through his PTSD. They worked together to help save themselves and others. We see that situation as very differently. This is Maggie fearing for what Herschel is being. She's pulling him close and embracing him because he is her son, but she saw that bandage and she knows what Herschel did.
Real quick, we're talking about the moment towards pretty much the end of the episode where they have their conversation right before they go into Central Park, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is all after the boat situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
This is after they're all back on the mainland and they're trying to figure out what their next step is going to be, because there's that moment where Herschel and Maggie hug. And Deborah, if I'm wrong about this, and this is not the moment you're talking about, I apologize. But by what she was describing, this is the first thing that came to my mind.
And I would imagine that's the same thing. And to me, that was actually the most unsettling moment for me, because that was, I think, seeing through to Herschel and past the Dama's puppet. And this week we got more Dama's puppet. Like I'm man, you said it last week. Logan Kim's a damn fine actor. Holy shit.
That
the
moment
layers he brings.
That moment to me is like a mother and son hugging right after the mother just found out that her son is a murderer.
Yep.
You know, like
it's one of those, like it's that kiss of death in The Godfather. Like she knows exactly what she's dealing with now, and it's terrifying her, but it is what it is, and she has to move forward with it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, exactly. And the only other note in Deborah's feedback that I want to make mention of is the Croat had a good paddle plan against him. This was reminiscent of when Negan was on Alpha's side with the attack on Hilltop, but this time it was all fun and games for him until he saw Herschel and Maggie. I kind of disagree with that too. I don't think any of this has ever been fun and games for Negan. He's putting on a good front and being what they want him to be. But that moment of seeing Herschel made him realize the dangerous game that is. I almost want to run that back in real time, because I feel like what you said was Negan wasn't enjoying it, but he snapped to it when he saw Herschel. I think, and I'm going to agree with Deborah a little bit. Okay, that's fair.
And this is where you and I are going to diverge this entire season. I love that about this. is I saw Negan kind of enjoying the explosions a little bit, kind of enjoying the mayhem and the power that he had in his hands when he was launching those methane-filled Zeds. And I thought when he saw Herschel, it snapped him out of that. That's when he got, hell yeah, sorry, watching the Phil's game. That's when he got out of it and was like, okay, like never mind. I can't go down that path. Like I thought that was the realization moment when he saw Herschel. I thought he was enjoying it up until then.
Okay, I can see that argument, especially considering the fact that New Babylon is after him. They want to persecute him and kill him.
Screw New Babylon.
So
in his mind,
when he thought it was a boat full of new Babylonians, yeah, okay, he was probably enjoying it a little bit because these are people that are chasing him to try and kill him. But I still, he was definitely pulled out of it when he saw Herschel.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I'm excited
she says,
to see as we go where we go.
Yeah, because she says this time it was all fun and games for him until he saw Herschel and Maggie. He never actually does see Maggie. He only sees Herschel.
True. Well, I thought I saw Maggie when they did that shot through the telescope. I'll have to rewatch that. Either way, neither here nor there. I think it's a fascinating thing to track and something that I'm excited to see what happens from there.
Okay, that's fair.
Next up, we have an email from, I'm going to try and pronounce your name correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but Tamara Gravenall. Hey, Ben and Alex. I'm powering through with this show because the showrunners have the hard job of coming up with new crazy stuff to entertain us. I'm not fully sold on the story, but I'm so into the concreted zombies being knife-proof, bulletproof, and how they come up with a solution for that solid problem. My biggest point is about the use of art in this franchise. We have seen it as the only constant to the time before. If it's stealing or saving priceless works or creating their own out of rubbish and painting over old canvases, we have seen representations of art being an outlet in all TWD shows, I am pretty sure. That's a great point. As the violin plays, everyone seems mesmerized and distracted. I knew something was underlying there, and such a waste of talent to make a point. I found this all a little too much of a Titanic throwback with people rushing to the stern and slipping all over the place. I mean, we even had someone throwing up. Had to be a guy doing it because if you know, you know. It couldn't have been a seasick female. I have a feeling this is going to get better and we will be hooked. Or it could turn into mush with concrete walkers guarding the concrete jungle. Here's hoping for greatness. Tam from Perth.
So, Tam, I'm confused. You have an issue with it being a guy that was throwing up over the side of the boat and not a female?
So if it was a female, we would all assume that she was pregnant because in the rules of Hollywood, if a female throws up, it means she is pregnant. See also The Last of Us.
Got it.
You know, I'm just saying, like, I definitely understand what Tam's saying. Like, of course it had to be a guy because if it was a female, people would be too stupid to realize. Not too stupid, sorry. Too ignorant to realize that people can just throw up with it not being related to child rearing.
All right. That's okay.
That's what I'm going with, at least.
If that's the truth, right. if that's not what Tam meant, you made a really good case for what they said, and I'm all for it.
I'm here for storytelling
because it makes sense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's definitely some crazy stuff, and I'm looking forward to like more artwork was brought up this episode.
It really was, and so Tam, I will say that the artwork through and through is fascinating because you're right. In the Daryl, the first season that I did see, that underground thing was trading in art antiquities, and it amazes me that even in a post-apocalyptic zombie world, art has a currency, and art is always a theoretical concept. It has the level of value that the people in the community ascribe to it. So seeing that it still matters and it's still a piece that is talked about in this afterworld is fascinating. It's really cool to see the art survives, you know, in whatever way that looks like.
Well, I mean, you look at modern times today, even pre-post-apocalyptic is probably what I meant to say.
I don't know. I've seen the news. It's apocalyptic.
But I mean, you look at the world now, and artwork is just the same way. Like you said, it is preserved, it is saved. In some ways, it is kind of used as a currency because museums are kind of trading art pieces for different exhibits and things like that. So yeah, you're right. It's nice to know that even in these post-apocalyptic times or zombie apocalypse times, artwork that's something that doesn't change. I'm sure a lot of it was lost.
Yep.
Or has gone missing. But the fact that what was found is still preserved and used. Like, they're not just throwing it on a bonfire for warmth. Like, they know what they have.
Right. It's the Monuments Men argument. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
All right. That leads us to our final piece of feedback. And that, of course, is a voicemail from our friend Steve Brown.
Hello, the cast of us. This is Steve, and this is going to be for TWD DC Season 2, Episode 2. Oh, yeah, the previously on. So the Croat has some sort of mole or something in the other people's, what are they called? This is like a lot of people and vehicles for a recon mission. They're just leaving Negan's cell door open now. I don't know classical music well enough to know the difference between all these different composers, but the guy played the violin really well. Oh, another crappy lesson. He just said the title of the episode. Mic drop. Excuse me. It's an exploratory mission, not a recon. Oh, Negan didn't even kill that walker with Lucille, too. That looks like a really ugly painting to me, and they keep showing it. I must have missed something in that conversation with Negan, the Dama, and the Croat. How are they going to blow up the ship? Oh, and Herschel arrives with these burning tires. What is the point of this? Oh, someone's doing a signal to the Croat with these burning tires. Okay, the closed caption just reminded me. New Babylon. That's what these people are called. Oh, and the Major just threatened Herschel, and Maggie gave her a pop in the mouth. This just doesn't make sense to me. This exploratory mission really looks like an invasion. Oh, it's some sort of mines in the water? What was she going to have Herschel do with the sharp end of that pipe? But okay, here's Jenny with a hacksaw. Oh, now they're launching bombs at him. Oh, and Negan can see Herschel and Maggie get into the lifeboat. Did he see Jenny with them also? Or I'm not sure who all got into the lifeboat before this last bomb hit the boat. And, of course, our main characters survive to make it to land, but now they got walkers coming on them. Oh, but the Croat got Benjamin, the drawing kid. Oh, and she just slit his throat. Oh, he played so well, too. Well, somebody found the handcuff keys, at least. Oh, are they going to go to Central Park? Is that where they're going to hide out in with all the walkers? All right, on to next week.
So Steve just did confirm that Mahershala and Maggie can be seen.
Cool.
Getting off the boat. So
that's where the live Steving, much like replay review in both NFL and MLB, is so crucial to us enjoying the show. I also want to really applaud Steve for asking the question that I meant to ask last week and I haven't asked yet, which is, what the hell was Maggie trying to get Herschel to do with that pipe? I mean, that thing was a good 5 feet. Like, did she want Herschel with his arms handcuffed behind his back to somehow shimmy up over the pole and pull his arms over the... I didn't understand what her goal was there. So, Steve, thank you so much for saying something.
I thought it was to pry the pipe off.
Like pull it down with strength and then slide the cuffs off.
Yeah, to slide the cuffs over.
Sense. That makes sense. But yeah, it did the whole time. And because he had that Kubrick stare and he was just frozen, he didn't do anything, all that. But that was just wild. That was just, love Steve. Thank you.
It's always great whenever we get that we get the live Steving from Steve.
Oh, man, that's a fact.
All right.
We did it.
So thank you to everybody who left us feedback for last week's episode. But I think it's time. Let's dive into this week's episode.
Let's do it.
I think it's my turn to read the plot summary.
Senor.
So, The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 2, Episode 3. Why did the mainlanders cross the river? In this episode, Maggie and her group venture into Central Park, encountering a mysterious and secluded community that reveres Mother Nature. As they navigate this new environment, Herschel becomes separated from the group and forms a bond with a silent teenage girl named Joan. Not always silent, but silent at first. Meanwhile, Negan, under the watchful eye of the Croat, attempts to protect Herschel without drawing attention. Flashbacks reveal Herschel's past interactions with the Dama, shedding light on his complex feelings towards his mother and Negan. The episode culminates in a tense confrontation, leaving the fate of the city hanging in the balance.
It's a good recap of all the things that happened in those 42 minutes, Ben.
So, where do we want to start with this one?
I'm going to start by saying, up until this week, I have been able to spread every recap down between a Maggie storyline and a Negan storyline. But the Maggie storyline filled up 2 pages of notes, and the Negan storyline filled up half a page of notes. So I think it is safe to say this is the first predominantly Maggie or Negan episode of the season. The rest have been pretty split and pretty even. This is the first one that really lent its hand to one or the other, and it was very Maggie oriented. So having said that, where do you want to start?
So I feel like, so we get, throughout this episode, we get 3 different flashbacks, and they're all of the Dama and Herschel.
Yes.
So why don't we knock those out? Because I feel like there
Okay.
is a lot to break. There's quite a bit to break down in
There
these
is.
flashbacks. Starting with the first one, we get Herschel, who is
Just
held
captured.
He's captured. He's held prisoner, and we get the Dama come in telling the story of the peanut brittle with her own version of it, and says, "I'm going to work to get you a bed so that you're comfortable. Do you need anything else?" And Herschel's like, "A coat." It's, "Oh yeah, it's cold." She is doing this motherly thing to make Herschel as comfortable as possible. This is the initial, I'm reeling him in. I need to make him feel like I'm not as dangerous as I actually am.
It's a level of grooming, and to what
Grooming
ends,
is the word, yeah.
To what ends, we will see, but it is 100% a level of grooming. Now, why Herschel? We'll get into that later, but I did think that whole exchange was fascinating. She was clearly trying to show him that, she had the gentle hand and like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry you got wrapped all into this, blah, 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 blah. But I want to ask you, Ben Beck, in that moment, when Herschel asks for a paper and a pencil, if the Dama were to ask you, what can I get you? What would you say?
A gun.
Oh, shit. Okay. Going straight there.
I mean, that's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, you have to assume at this point, because of the world that you're living in, there's no power. Even though they do have power, Herschel just doesn't know it. I'd probably, in that world, you can't ask for a television and movies because
correct.
I would want something to read.
That's amazing. I was going to say I would want a book.
Yeah, give me a book.
The Douglas Adams Compendium. Okay? Give me like the Bible. I don't know. That's 72 books in one. Like, give me something with some volumetric integrity, and I'll be good. Like a coat and a book, I'll be fine. I'm amazed that you said give me something to read, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, give me the Iliad.
Just the fact that you said like the Douglas Adams collection, like you pretty much named one of a few on a short list of books that I could read, finish the last page, and just go right back to the beginning and start reading again.
One of the greatest compendiums of the modern era. Period. Yeah. You can take your Shakespeare's. I'll take Douglas Adams and the Diner at the End of the Universe. Thank you.
There are 3 collections of books that I own that I can read front to back and have multiple times. The first one is Douglas Adams. So Hitchhiker's Guide, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Mostly Harmless.
Like, thank you for all the fish.
So long, thank you for all the fish. I have read all of the Sherlock Holmes books.
Nice.
And I have also read L'Art d'Arthur, which is the story of King Arthur.
Nice. I got
Le Mort d'Arthur, sorry.
Okay, I got really far in the Merlin of it all, but no, mine would be Nick Hornby, Ben Mesrick, and Chuck Palahniuk. Those are my big 3.
But yeah, I mean, if I was given that choice, it wouldn't be paper and something to draw with. I'd want a book. I need something to read.
I love that. So, all right. So she's tempted him with the peanut brittle. That's flashback 1. Mm-hmm. And then what? Flashback 2 was, so when the Dama leaves, she leaves a crack in the door. And we all know exactly what that means. That means that a test of loyalty and a test of perseverance and a test of possibility is about to happen with young Herschel.
Well, that is the 3rd flashback.
Is that the 3rd one? So which one's the 2nd one?
The 2nd one is where the Dama comes in and she starts talking about the relationship between mothers and sons, and also brings up her favorite artist.
Okay.
This is where, and it's the 2nd and 3rd flashbacks that I have a strong prediction as to who the Dama is.
Okay.
Because we talked about this a little bit last week, that she knew Bach by ear when Victor was playing Bach, and she knew different types of music. So she is absolutely somebody who was cultured. But she starts talking to Herschel about her favorite artist, and I apologize, I did not write what the artist was or do any research into it.
If it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not going to remember
it. But then she goes into the relationship between mothers and sons, talking about getting more kind of pulling Herschel away from Maggie in those moments. But to jump forward to that third flashback with that test of loyalty, there is that crack in the door in which Herschel takes advantage of, and he goes exploring, and he is attacked by walkers.
Sure is.
Walkers that I am 100% convinced she released on Herschel to see how he would react.
Of course, this was all just a test. I mean, it's the most common cat and mouse situation. So she releases the walkers. He gets through a few of them, but then he gets overwhelmed, and then she saves the day and comes to the rescue to take that maternal aspect. And I guess we're just going to get into it, but like, here's what I realized the second time when I just watched the episode. But what the Dama is doing essentially is showing Herschel that she would rather rebuild the new world than try to bring back the old world. And I think Maggie has spent her entire life trying to get Herschel and her into a semblance of the old world. And that is not what Herschel is interested in. That's why he is drowning in the lights of the Dama, because she is showing him like, no, this new world is gorgeous and we can make it even better. And that's what he buys into. Not Maggie's way of let's stay protected. Let's stay safe in what we know.
Well, Herschel is an artist. We know that already. He's an artist. An artist are people who are able to see through what is right in front of them and see past it, to find the beauty in things that are broken. And you're absolutely right. You nailed that. That is what the Dama is using to get through to Herschel. Like, she takes him up, she builds him a bedroom in a warehouse, in a storage elevator.
Awesome.
Which is super amazing. Cool.
So I wanted to ask you that. Is that cool or is that weird? I think it's cool.
It's cool if he has control of the room to be able to go back down.
Great call.
If he doesn't, it's a cell.
That's weird then. Yeah, no, for
Even
sure.
if you have a view. But she's using that because we know a little bit of time has passed at this point.
Yep.
Herschel gave her the seed she needed when he requested the paper and something to draw with.
For sure.
She now has the seed to plant in Herschel. And she uses that. She starts talking about her favorite artist. And then she gives him a view to see the city and points him in a direction of how she plays into that whole finding beauty from broken, using the city as the canvas. And at that point, she's in. Like, she's broken through Herschel's defenses.
Let me ask you a question. And Kara asked me this, and I did not have a good answer. So I hope you do. And this is where I say, like, honestly, in all my podcast worlds, where like Podcastica is the only one covering this show, like The Ringer. Hello, Joanna Robinson, where are you at? But anyways, my question is, why Herschel? What does the Dama see in Herschel that makes him such an enticing and is it his ability to, I don't know, what is it about Herschel that she finds willing to risk the biscuit for?
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because I kind of question that too. And I think, in all honesty, I don't think we have an answer to that yet.
Okay. I love that. I love that answer.
And the reason why is season 1 setup was all about how Herschel was taken and pulled into the city and, taken into New York. And then she needed to get Negan's help to go in and save him.
Yep.
Do we know, was Herschel targeted, or did he just happen to be somebody that the Croat grabbed and brought into the city? I think we need to distinguish if Herschel was taken on purpose or if he's just an accidental captive.
So was his specialness a happy accident or always in the cards? I'm guessing. I would have to guess. You know what it makes me think of, and you're either gonna love this or hate this. It makes me think of Walt.
Oh no.
And that's that. Like, okay, so what's all right, man? Like, what's the Walt of Herschel? I don't know. Like, so to those who don't know, I'm making a reference to Lost and Walt, that unfortunately aged out of his character's usefulness. And it's just like, what about Herschel makes him so? Because I haven't seen it, and I'd love to know what the Dama saw, because I haven't.
Well, and here's the other thing to consider too when it comes to that scenario of why Herschel.
Mm-hmm.
We're only seeing Herschel. There's nothing that says she's not attempting this with other people that we're just not seeing.
Okay.
And Herschel is just one of the ones that she is able to crack and able to break in. She might be trying this with multiple people at the same time, and we're just not seeing it.
Do you believe that, or are you just saying that?
No, I honestly believe that.
Okay, you think there might be other Herschels under her care, or at least in the history of the Dama, there might have been other Herschels before?
So,
was the Croat a Herschel?
Yes, thank you.
There it is.
So when I said I had an interesting theory about the Croat, that was exactly what I was going to get at.
Awesome.
The Croat was Herschel before Herschel. When he tells that story to Negan about how he was rescued and she fed him that food, that Croatian food that he loved, that was the seed that got the Croat. The Croat is Herschel before Herschel.
Fantastic. I did not put that together amazingly until this conversation, but you're absolutely right. By the Croat telling Negan the playbook and Herschel's experience reinforcing it, it shows that her lieutenants, she brings all of them in the same way. Nicely done. Well done.
Herschel is not the first person she has done this to.
No, she is not. I guess you could say she's trying to do that with Negan, probably.
Well, because think about this too, in form of the Croat, is think about the stories that we heard about the Croat and how crazy he was, so much so that Negan didn't even want him in the sanctuary. Like, they tried putting a bullet in his head and it's what grazed his ear. Somebody that nuts, how can this woman be in charge of him if she didn't, to a degree, break him?
Son of a bitch. That's great. That's fantastic. And and to then watch her do it to Herschel, and like every step of the way you see it and you're like, oh man, buddy.
But the difference between the Croat and Herschel is that the Croat had nobody to bring him out of it.
That's a great point.
Herschel's got Maggie.
You know what's funny? Okay, so I told myself for a hot second I wasn't going to litigate this, but here we are. Last season, when the Croat was telling his story about his family being, he went out on a scavenging mission, he came back and he found that his family was food for another family. The general consensus was that his family was eaten by cannibals. I have always believed that he meant his family was eaten by Zeds.
That's what I would think.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I just wanted to clear that out on the record. There's no reason for me to care about that, but I needed to say it just to get it off my chest.
So I want to go back to the flashbacks again real quick.
Okay.
Because I want to talk a little bit about my theory, my furthering theory as to who the Dama is.
Please enlighten.
There is as we know in television, not just The Walking Dead, but any show. Anytime a show shows you something that seems totally inconsequential, it never is.
Correct. The Chekhov's gun phenomenon.
Exactly. There is a moment when the Dama is giving Herschel the tour of the theater, and she is talking about this theater and what this building used to be. And she stops and she examines a star on a door of a dressing room. I believe the Dama is a stage actress.
That tracks.
Who probably performed at this theater. It is her comfort zone because she is familiar with this theater. It is why she stays in this theater. This was her world before the world went to hell. She is an actress.
Okay. So she's Catherine O'Hare.
I would even say Katharine Hepburn.
Ooh, or Aubrey Plaza. I just, given her propensity for murder, I just, I want to give her a little edge. But I think that's a great call. And I would not be surprised if you're 100% correct, because they have definitely dropped enough clues and enough hints that could be it.
I think, and this is a bold prediction too, but I think the reveal, because remember, we had Benjamin say that she looks familiar.
Yes.
So it means that if she was a stage actress, she was most likely on promotional material, like a poster or something like that.
Okay.
Theaters oftentimes have framed pictures of the shows that perform at that theater.
Okay.
I think before this season is over, someone is going to find one of those posters and we're going to get a reveal to who she was.
Let me ask you a question. Is the musical / play she is in, is it real or made up in the Walking Dead universe? And if it's real, what is it?
Man, that's a good question. I did not consider.
Who would she be playing on Broadway? The Dama.
It has to be a dramatic role.
For sure. Something from but what's a good meaty? Is it Les Mis?
It could be.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's probably going to be something they make up for the sake of television.
True. That makes a lot of sense. She's not going to be Sandy in Grease.
Yeah. That would be so funny.
That would be fantastic.
She's Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors.
Absolutely. I love it.
Shamalama? No, can't.
All right. Is there anything else from the Herschel flashbacks that you wanted to touch upon, that you wanted to address?
I think that's pretty much it. I talked about his room being an elevator,
which is super cool. I would love that. That's so neato burrito. I mean, just open your door and oh my God, I'm overlooking Central Park. Yes, please.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
No, I think that's pretty much all I had for the flashback elements of this episode.
I'm pretty sure that's all I got. It was a really heavy Maggie episode. I mean, there was Negan, but this was a Maggie and New Babylon kind of journey this week.
You're right. It was very little Negan.
Yes.
But
which is fine. I'm okay with that.
We got all we needed of Negan this episode.
100%. So do we want to bang Negan out then? Like, let's get the tinies and then get to the bigs? Maybe? I don't know. What are you thinking?
No, we absolutely can. I mean, so I feel like I'm doing all the talking and I apologize.
No, you're absolutely not. I'm hopping in where I need to.
You are. I have